Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. I am so excited to talk to you guys today. In Kansas, it's actually super cold and icy, so classes were canceled, and instead of taking a nap, I thought that maybe I would come and hang out with you guys. So today, I thought I would do just a natural glam makeup tutorial for people with really problematic skin. And as you can easily tell, I definitely have problematic skin. If you guys watched my last video, I kind of showed my bare face for the first time, and you saw my problematic place over here. So again, please be nice to me. But I filmed that video a few days ago, and it's definitely gone down and gotten quite a bit better. But it's obviously still there, and I definitely have enlarged pores and just a lot of problems with my skin. So my skin will kind of get a lot better, and then something will happen and it'll get worse. Usually that something is like finals week, you know, of course. I just love finals week. So actually, two of my favorite YouTubers to watch are Katie and Desi Perkins. They're best friends, and they're so cute and beautiful and just awesome. So Desi, in one of her latest skincare videos, actually talked about a toner by Ole Henriksen. I just grabbed the toner, so I thought I would show you really quick. This is the Ole Henriksen Glow 2 OH Dark Spot Toner. So I just got that, and she said it was working great for her, so I just started trying it out. Because kind of my problem is a lot of these breakouts are actually almost gone, but the pigment will stick around for quite a while afterwards, and it'll eventually go away, but it just really takes its sweet time. My skin is really tricky because it can be very oily, and then, you know, of course, cause the clogged, enlarged pores and the breakouts. But then also my skin can get really dry, so it's very hard for me to use a lot of acne products because my skin is very sensitive. So I've been working with a dermatologist, like I've mentioned before, for quite a while now, and we are always just kind of perfecting my routine to just help things get a little bit better and a little bit better. And he is made a huge difference in my life. I swear to God, my opinion of myself has changed dramatically, and it's a huge reason why I actually want to become a dermatologist. I used to be at a place where I could not be seen by anybody if I didn't have a full face of makeup on, and now all the time I go out and I don't have any makeup on at all. And obviously my skin's a little bit worse right now, but even when it's been worse or better, I've just felt so much more comfortable with myself because of all of the wonderful things my dermatologist has been able to help me with. With all that being said, I'm going to show you guys how I do a natural glam with my knowledge. I'm obviously not a professional or anything like that, and of course this video is obviously not sponsored by any of the products I mention. I only have 4 subscribers, so yeah. With that being said, let's get started. Now, I personally like to start off with my eyebrows. I actually do this because for me, I'm not the best at doing my eyebrows, so I feel like if I do them first before I do the rest of my makeup, that if I mess up, it's really easy to clean up, versus if I already have my makeup done, if I mess up, it's like end game, you know what I'm saying? But kind of the way I like to do my eyebrows is I just sort of map out the shape I like at the bottom. I know it seems kind of strong right now, but I kind of blend that out later so it doesn't look like a box, if you know what I mean. And so then I just start filling in my eyebrows pretty lightly. I have a lot of sparse areas. It's actually because my natural hair color is a lot lighter than this hair color. I've had a ton of hair colors in my life. I've had kind of auburn hair. I was blonde for most of my childhood, like very blonde. Maybe I'll insert a picture here. And then I kind of went from blonde to dark brown pretty rapidly, and I really like being brunette. I felt like the blonde I had was washing out my skin tone. And now that I'm a little bit older, I think the problem was that my blonde hair was just too strawberry, and so it made me feel like I had to have a tan in order for that to look good. So I think if I had had like a more natural ashy blonde hair color, that it probably would have looked better, but here we are. I really like the dark hair. Who knows if I'll change it. So all I did was I just filled it in, and then I just blended it out with my spoolie. So I'm going to quickly do the other side. Something I forgot to mention to you guys is I always like to wet my beauty blender before I start my makeup process, and I don't actually use this for quite a while because I like to do my eyebrows and then my eyeshadow first. The reason why I like to dampen this so far ahead of time is because I feel like when I use my beauty blender freshly wet, it just soaks up all the product, and I feel like it actually makes my foundation look a lot worse versus if I wet it and then just let it dry a little bit. I feel like it blends it so beautifully. So I just kind of let this baby sit, and don't worry, I did clean it. It's just kind of stained from all the times I've used it, but I do clean these every time I use them. All right, so I filled in both of my eyebrows. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna take a really small pencil brush. This is the Morphe E19 brush, and I'm just gonna take a concealer that's pretty close to my skin color. This is the Maybelline Fit Me concealer in the shade 15 Fair, and I love this stuff. I've used this stuff for years, and in fact this was the first concealer I ever bought. And obviously I've tried a lot more concealers, but this one is so affordable, and I feel like it does such a good job, you know, even very comparable to a lot of really expensive concealers I've bought. So I just find myself reaching for this on the day-to-day basis. If I'm doing something a little bit more glam like I am today, I'll use a different concealer, maybe something that's a little bit more full coverage. But this is such a good option if you're on a budget and you just need something that's gonna look really pretty and natural on a day-to-day. So all I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna run this under my eyebrow, and then I'll just take a little bit. All I do is I just kind of touch it there, and I'll just kind of run this over the top to get rid of any of that kind of dark shadow. And this will also really help to blend in your eyebrows to your foundation, so you don't look like there's like gaps between your foundation and your eyebrow, if you know what I'm saying. Because I know a lot of people think it's super weird to do your eyebrows before your foundation for that reason. But I find that this is like the best way to kind of fix that issue. Okay, so now that we've kind of cleaned up our eyebrows, they're looking much better. I'm just going to use a clear brow gel, and this one, the name's actually totally rubbed off because I use this stuff so much. But this is the brow gel by Anastasia Beverly Hills. I swear it's just like glue for your eyebrows. It works really well for me. So now I'm gonna move on to eyeshadow, and I have to have an eyeshadow primer if I'm doing my eyeshadow for like, you know, a more glam situation, because I don't know if you can see very well, but I have a lot of veins and discoloration on my eyelids. Plus my eyelids get super oily throughout the day, so I need something heavy duty so the colors show up well and stick to my eyelids and cover up all these veins and then don't slip off during the day. So my favorite eyeshadow primer is the Urban Decay Eyeshadow Primer Potion. This is in the color Eden because I'm very fair. And this stuff is like bulletproof, I swear to God. This has never failed me, but it does dry kind of fast, so I will just do one eye at a time, so that way it doesn't get too tacky and stick unevenly to different places. I know it probably seems super weird, but I just like to use my finger to blend this out because I just feel like I can't get in there the same with the brush, you know? So I just kind of pat with my finger. Okay, so for me, I really need to set my primer with a powder because otherwise I feel like it creases, and then because this stuff can get really tacky, it'll just lay unevenly. So I'm just gonna use any old powder. This one is the Maybelline Fit Me powder, the Set and Smooth in the shade 120. Literally any powder works. I've used eyeshadows, translucent powders. This is just what's in front of me, so this is what I'm gonna use. So I'm just gonna use this to kind of put that all over my eyelid shape area. I don't know what you call this whole area, but this part, okay?
Yeah, I know. I'm really good at makeup tutorials and explaining parts of the body, even though I want to be a physician and I'm supposed to like understand that really well, so.
Now I'm gonna start doing my eyeshadow. My favorite eyeshadow palette is the Friendcation palette by Desi and Katie and Dose of Colors. And this palette is super famous for the shimmers, which, don't get me wrong, are gorgeous. But the mattes are unlike any mattes I've ever used before. They're so smooth and blendable, and I honestly use these mattes anytime I do my eyeshadow. And so I'm just gonna dip into this one as my transition shade, because this is the best transition shade I've ever used. A lot of times I can't find something that is light enough for my skin tone to really blend from my, you know, dark crease color to my actual skin, and this shade is perfect. So, okay. Now that I've gotten this done, I'm gonna move into this slightly darker shade to just build up my crease even more. I'm just gonna take this guy and I'm gonna kind of start on the inner portion, because I kind of like to blend my eyeshadow up into my eyebrow a little bit. I don't know why, it just kind of, for me makes everything seem a little bit more seamless, and I feel like it makes my nose seem a little bit smaller because I got kind of a bulky nose, you know, so I like to do that just to kind of make things seem a little bit more petite, if you will. And now I'm just gonna take a little bit of this even darker shade, just a tiny bit, and I'm just gonna keep deepening up that crease. I'm gonna try to focus this a little bit lower so it blends into the lighter colors up above. Now I'm going to open up my Jaclyn Hill palette. This is another super pretty palette. So I think I'm gonna dip into this shade right here. So I'm just gonna kind of pack this color on, and I'm gonna start over kind of on the edge of my eye, and then I'm gonna put a little bit on the inner one too, but I'm not gonna re-dip back in because I don't want this to be too dark in here. And then I'm just gonna kind of blend that to the center, but leave the center a little bit, kind of like a halo. You know, we're going a little bit for that halo effect. So now that we got that done, I'm just gonna take my blending brush, the same one. I use the same blending brush because I feel like it just kind of molds all the colors together. Anyway, and I'm just gonna kind of lightly blend over it just to make sure everything's seamless. I think I'm gonna take this shade just for a little glitz in the middle, and I'm just gonna kind of put that on the center of my eye for a little halo moment. So now that I've done that, I'm gonna do my eyeliner. And the reason why I say eyeliner is because one of my favorite tricks is actually using eyeshadow as eyeliner. I love, you know, a good black wing when I'm doing something bold, but if I'm going for something that's a little bit more natural, which today we're doing kind of a glam natural look, I like things to be a little bit more smoky. So I love taking, you know, a good brown and then just adding a little bit of black or something and using that as my eyeliner. So I'm gonna first take an angled brush. This one is by Sephora. And I'm going to dip in to my Friendcation palette. It's got this really lovely light brown. So I'm just gonna go for that one, and I'm gonna pick it up, just kind of pack it on there. So anyway, all I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna run this on my lash line really quick. And I like to do a little baby wing on my natural days. And one of my favorite things to do to kind of sharpen things up is to actually just take my finger and just kind of run it along the edge, and it just kind of makes this sharp little flick. So now I've got both sides done, and all I'm gonna do just to kind of blend it is just take this kind of flat edged brush, and I'm just gonna run it along the edge of my eyeliner. Okay, so that's where I'm gonna pause with the eyes, and we'll finish them up after we have finished the rest of our face. So now our beauty blender is still damp, but just a little bit drier, so it won't soak up too much product. And we're gonna do our face makeup. So now, I'm not actually somebody who wears a lot of primer. For me, my moisturizer kind of does what I need it to do. But if I do want a primer, I'll actually just use the e.l.f. hydrating primer. I think this one's really good. My mom actually loves this stuff. She says it just makes her face feel so much more hydrated and plump. And she's obviously a bit older than me, so if you're older and you're maybe looking for something like that, my mom loves it. So it's really nice. It makes my skin feel very smooth, and it's e.l.f., so it's pretty inexpensive, which is great. I totally forgot to mention at the start of this video that I'm again apologizing if my face is not the same color as my neck, because my spray tan that I gave myself is still sticking around. So now I'm gonna go into foundation, and I'm gonna use the MAC Studio Fix Fluid, and this is in the shade NC15, because I'm pretty fair, but I've got some yellow undertones. So this is what I'm gonna use, and I love this, especially for when I'm really breaking out bad, because this just makes you look like a perfect porcelain doll. Okay, let's see. So you see this problematic spot. I put some of this on the back of my hand. I'm gonna take my nice little beauty blender, get in there, and I'm just gonna start going over this. This seriously, oh my God, helps so much. Look already. I've hardly put anything on there. This is definitely a full coverage foundation. When my skin's looking a little bit better, or I'm wanting something just a little bit more natural, I will go for a different one. I also love the Maybelline foundations. Their matte and poreless foundations is just really beautiful, and I think is kind of comparable to this one. So I'm gonna kind of blend this up my ear. So I'm just gonna start blending this all over my face. Always little pouncing motions. Always make sure you're getting way up into that hairline. All right, so I've pretty much got my face covered the way I want it to. Now we're gonna do the neck. Guys, do not forget your neck. Please don't, because even if you get a great match with your foundation, it's just noticeable. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's still a difference, and that's what makes you look kind of fake, if you will. So if you're going for something more natural, please think about your neck.
You know, it's there. It wants attention and love too, you know? Like, why is it only your face gets to look pretty? Like, why can't your neck look pretty? You know what I'm saying?
And then sometimes if I'm breaking out a little on my chest, which I am today, I'll just kind of blend this down in my collarbone just to make my skin look a little bit smoother. Okay, so now I'm going to move on to concealer, and as I told you guys, on days that I'm looking a little bit more glamorous, I won't use my Maybelline one. I'll go for something that's maybe a little lighter to brighten up my under eyes, and something that's a little bit more full coverage and creamy. So the concealer I'm going to use today is the KKW Beauty Concealer, and this is actually in the lightest shade. It's in shade 1.
So all I do is I just kind of paint my face like a tiger. Blend, 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 my pointy end of my sponge. Blend away the exhaustion, the tiredness, the lab report you have to write. Just blend it all away.
All right, so I did my under eyes. Now I'm going to put a little on my chin, and then just really carefully, just a little on my nose. And then I'm gonna make a little flower on my forehead. And actually, for my chin, I'll use the side I used my foundation with, just because I don't want my chin to be too bright. I also break out on my chin, so I'd like to use this end to kind of make it a little bit more dull since it has some foundation on there. And then I'm just gonna kind of lightly blend down the bridge of my nose, and then up on my forehead with my pointy side of my sponge. All right, so I'm not somebody who bakes a ton, and in fact, I'm almost out of my Laura Mercier translucent powder, which is what I normally use. So I'm not really gonna bake today, but I am gonna dip my sponge into it and set it and brush some things away, but it's not really gonna be enough to like bake, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not gonna leave it that long. So just gonna dip it up, get those eyes wide open, you know, woo. This is really great if you have problematic skin. Matte is the way you want to go because it will cover up those pores. It'll make your skin look a lot more perfect. And so I put translucent powder in all of the areas that my skin is really problematic because it seriously just helps everything to look a lot more perfect. I'm going to take my brush actually for that area of my face and just really get her in there. So I don't want it to move, and I want it to be nice and matte, because when you highlight, you're kind of bringing attention to things, and I don't want to bring attention to my bad pores and my breakouts. So here we go. In case you guys are wondering, this is actually the same technique I used for my face in my first 2 videos that I filmed. Now that I've set everything, I don't want things to look too powdery and too unnatural. So I like to give my face a quick spray, either with just a nice mister, or I'll use MAC Fix Plus. Today I think I'm gonna use the MAC Fix Plus in the Gold Light, just because I feel like it would give me a nice luminosity to my skin, since I definitely put on a lot of powder today. So.
It's rain and Fix Plus. Hallelujah, it's rain and Fix Plus.
So while my face is still a little bit damp and drying, I'm actually gonna go finish up my under eyes. I'm gonna take kind of a angled blending brush like this. I'm gonna go back into my Foundation palette and just kind of use some of the lighter blending matte shades, and I'm just gonna put them under my eye to kind of give it a little bit of a smoky appearance. All right, now I'm gonna highlight the inner corner, and I usually use whatever highlighter I'm gonna use on the rest of my face. One of my favorite highlighters is this Tarte one, and it is called...
How do you know where the shade color is?
Maybe that's the shade color, Exposed Highlight. I don't know. I'm great at this, aren't I? And then another palette I love is actually the KKW Beauty highlighters. These are the fair ones. So I think I'm gonna take this bright shade today just to kind of give me a nice glow. If any of you are wondering, I have loved doing my makeup for a long time. I started doing my makeup in middle school because I had a lot of breakouts going on in middle school, and this is kind of during the time that I didn't feel comfortable going out and seeing anybody without a full face of makeup on. So I started learning then, and I just kind of taught myself through YouTube tutorials actually. My mom was never super into makeup, so I never actually learned from her. I just kind of taught myself. And then when I was in high school, I actually did pageants. Fun fact, maybe I'll do a separate video about all of that and my experiences with it. And so when I did pageants, I went and saw a makeup artist who was wonderful. Her name was Ashley Renee, and you can follow her on social media. She does some great stuff, and she does a lot of stuff with pageant girls. But anyway, she taught me how to do my makeup properly. So thank you, Ashley. And ever since then, I've just been learning on my own and kind of figuring out what I like and what works for me, and just doing it as a fun thing for me to do. That's kind of how I got into doing my makeup. With that being said, I'm gonna do my mascara now. So I'm just gonna curl my eyelashes. And I just like to do my eyelashes at the base of my root. I am really lucky, guys, in that I naturally have pretty long eyelashes. So to be totally honest with you, I don't wear fake eyelashes that often, and I won't put them on today. That's also why I only curl them at the base of my root, because I feel like that just helps get all of them up, instead of people how they normally curl a little bit all the way up. But because my eyelashes are long enough, I feel like I can kind of do this and it works out well for me. Like I said, I'm not going to put on fake eyelashes today. They actually kind of scare me. I have definitely put them on, and I know how to, because like I said, I used to do pageants. I have definitely worn them. I don't know, on the day-to-day, I don't really like to. I kind of feel like they're a little bit uncomfortable. But with that being said, the eyes are done, yay! So let's move on to the face. I'm gonna start with bronzer, and I'm gonna use the Hoola bronzer in the color Light. I love this stuff. It is such a good bronzer for people with really fair skin. So I'm also not really somebody who like majorly contours. I kind of feel like bronzer is enough, you know what I'm saying? Maybe that's just me, but I kind of feel like it just warms up my face enough, and I don't want to go too crazy, especially if I'm just doing something that's kind of natural. Now I'm gonna dip into some blush, and I'm gonna use a Milani blush in the color Dulce Pink. So I love it. I think it gives you just a really pretty kind of luminous glow from the inside. I love blush. I feel like it makes you look so young and pretty, and I put blush all over my face because I feel like it gives you color and just blends everything in really nice. So now I'm gonna go into highlight. Today I'm gonna use the KKW Beauty highlighters that I already showed you guys. These are definitely very blinding, but I'll show you what I do to kind of blend them to make them a little bit more natural. So I actually like to kind of dip into these three because I just like the combination. And for people with problematic skin, keep your highlight right at the high point. Don't go too far down into this area that can be very porous for a lot of people. And then I've got a breakout right here, so I'm just gonna casually avoid it and kind of go a little bit up here, but not very much, because my forehead also has a lot of pores. So I'm not gonna put any on my chin because my chin is kind of a problematic area for me. I'm just gonna put a little bit down my nose just for a nice little natural glow. And then what I said I like to do to kind of make things a little bit more natural is I just take my powder brush and I just kind of lightly blend over it. Okay, so now for lips, I'm gonna use this Sephora lipstick. It is in the shade, goodness, it's at the top. It's in the shade Tan Lines, and it was one of their lip story things that they had over the summer. These are so great because they were only a few bucks, and they're so pigmented and good. I don't know if they still have them around or not, but this is my favorite shade. I just think it's so natural and pretty. So, whoop, I'm just gonna lightly do this number. And then if I want to wear a lip gloss, I will usually reach for my Dose of Colors times I Love Sarah E collection. This is the golden one. I'll just kind of put that lightly over top. And then of course, to finish everything off, I will give myself a quick little spray. And there you go, we are complete. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this makeup look and learned something. If you've got problematic skin, trust me, I get it, girlfriend. I hope this video was able to help you out when you're getting yourself a little bit extra cute. If you like this video, please give it a like, comment down below, and subscribe if you want to see more from me. If you want to follow me to learn more about my day-to-day life, what it's like being pre-med, plus my adorable furry friends, you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter. My Instagram is Natasha_LaGrega and my Twitter is just Natasha LaGrega, and I will put all of that in the description down below. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'll show you a quick little clip of Ariel and Chai saying their goodbyes. Look at that little Chai baby. This is how she sleeps. Look at that. And she's so precious. Hi, little one. Aw, she says bye-bye. Bye, guys. Oh my gosh, look at this little girl. This is Ariel. She's got her little fish. Hi. She's saying bye, guys. Bye.